While Andrew Bridgen is perfectly entitled to his own understanding of the COVID-19 vaccination program, and while the government is perfectly entitled to put out its own idea that this was the greatest program of mass vaccination and mass protection in modern times, and that Britain was in advance of the majority of other countries in the world, to compare the mass vaccination with the Holocaust is a step too far. And it's quite clear, as Karen Pollock, the chief executive of the Holocaust Educational Trust, says, that Bridgen's language is highly irresponsible and wholly inappropriate. Nadim Zahawi, the former vaccines minister, said that he was very proud of the UK response to the pandemic. And Keir Starmer said that it was the right thing to do to take the whip away from Mr. Bridgen and to castigate him for whipping up anti-vax conspiracy theories. I think the anti-vax conspiracy theories are whipped up anyway, so I don't think Mr. Bridgen has particularly contributed to those or indeed influenced those. I think his problem, and Keir Starmer needed to address this, his problem is to draw a parallel between the anti-vax theories and conspiracy and the much more serious issue of the Holocaust. A one-word reference to the Holocaust would not necessarily meet the definition of anti-Semitism, but it is clearly unacceptable, said Sir Keir's spokesperson, but Sir Keir himself should have said that. We have to be really careful about the language which we use, particularly if we are going to draw on some of the darker aspects of recent modern history. And to compare the vaccine program with the death of 6 million people in concentration camps is to make light of the suffering of so many people and the inhumanity perpetrated by the Nazi thugs. It is wholly wrong, and the Conservative Party in this particular instance is right to have stamped on that. But at the same time, I think it's time to call the conspiracy theorists to heel. That time has gone. Now, at the same time, we may well be facing a further renewed pandemic. Maybe not now, maybe in the future, and we need to find a way to deal with that. And messing around with conspiracy theories and about who may and may not be responsible for the pandemic, or who may or may not have overreacted, is not the way forward. The way forward is to look at what we did clearly and to decide if we can do better in the future. No doubt we can do better in the future. The idea of the best being an achievable event in the past is nonsensical. The best is always to improve. And we can find even biblical support for that. We can find support in Plato for that. The biblical support is literally to find the two passages in Matthew and Luke. Be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect, and God, no one is perfect but God alone. Put those two together, and we realize our objective is perfection, and we must recognize that we are always going to fall short. Our objective is the best. We recognize we are always going to fall short. That's Plato. That's Platonism. We don't aim for second best. We aim for the best. We recognize we fail, and we recognize we keep trying. We pick ourselves up and we try again, and we try again, and we try again. And sometimes we get quite close. And I think that our resilience in the face of the pandemic, which includes the vaccine program, was good. But we can do better. And we can, in future, I hope, inform people and bring the population with us rather than against us. And that is something we must do. And we need to recognize, or the government needs to recognize, that it is the servant of the people, not the lord of the people.